Hey everyone, John Lorden here. Thank you for joining me on today's very special BrainScratch Searchlight update for January 23rd, 2018. Sorry if you hear a little hum in the background, but we are getting a ton of snow today and the heater is on. I usually turn it off when I'm recording, but I'm going to leave it on today because I like to stay warm. Today we are going to be doing updates on 3 cases. One of these cases you could say is almost getting close to the case cracked territory. So for anyone that's disappointed that you don't have an episode of Case Cracked today, stay tuned because we have a lot of details in one of these cases. And then 2 other cases that are very important. In 2 of these cases, we're going to see the face of potential murderers. So very serious stuff that we're covering here today. With that being said, let's go ahead and just move right into the first case, which in an interesting way could now be referred to as the Woodward and Bernstein case, but we're not talking about the reporters that cracked the Watergate scandal. We're talking about Blaise Bernstein and the person being charged with his murder, Samuel Lincoln Woodward. And here we have a photo of Sam from LATimes.com. Ex-classmate accused of killing Blaise Bernstein boasted of religious faith, conservative views. Samuel Lincoln Woodward, 20 of Newport Beach, has been charged in the stabbing death of 19-year-old Blaise Bernstein. And it's interesting because even before his name was kind of hitting the mainstream media rounds, I had some brain scratchers that were contacting me and sending me information about Sam. One of them even sent me a screenshot of a conversation that he was having, I believe it was on Facebook, where he was defending the Confederate flag, which, I don't think that automatically says this guy's a murderer, and certainly people of a young age can have some interesting views and be very adamant about defending those views, no doubt. But Sam has been identified. This is the guy that has been arrested. This is the same person that we thought was Blaise's friend that was picking him up and driving him to a couple places that night. And now we have more detail about what might have actually happened. Sam spoke openly on social media about his Catholic faith and conservative political views. If you look into some other articles, you might also find some information about school projects that he had done and possibly personal projects as well. Some of them have a little bit of a neo-Nazi angle to them, like a picture he took that looks like he's reenacting the scene. I don't think anyone that hasn't seen the movie won't know what I'm talking about, from American History X. And then another case in which he was given a monologue to perform in a drama class, which happened to be from Inglourious Bastards. But at least according to that story, it seems like the teacher actually assigned him that monologue. But anyway. A law enforcement source said that Woodward told investigators Bernstein kissed him on the lips while they were sitting in a parked car January 2nd. The sources said Woodward told authorities that the kiss was unwanted and that he pushed Bernstein away. So it's weird because it states all that, but then the sentence right before that is authorities have not identified a possible motive in the killing. But then we have this law enforcement source that says basically it seems like it was an unwanted sexual advance that accelerated this situation. And it breaks my heart in a couple of ways. First of all, we're talking about someone trying to be themselves, trying to open up to someone else about who they are, and things going terribly, terribly tragic in that case. It also kind of confirmed some suspicions that some people had, myself included, which I didn't really talk about on the video that I first made, that maybe there was some hate-related element going on here. Now we've already had notes of kind of neo-Nazism, and now we're talking about the fact that Blaise might have been gay as well. But also keep in mind, this is, just information that is coming based on what Sam said happened. Was it really as simple as this is the first time that Blaise kissed him and Sam got upset? I don't know. The whole story about them, driving and sitting in a parking lot at Hobby Lobby and then driving to the park. I don't understand the mechanics of what this night out was about, why Blaise didn't tell his family where he was going, why they kind of had this conversation, and then he sneaks out of the house and they go to these places and stuff. I don't know. Could this be a case of where Sam might have actually been a little more interested in Blaise than he's letting on, and then had some kind of freak reaction, some type of internal conflict within himself? The level of rage that happened here kind of points to that for me personally, just based on cases that I've looked at before. You're talking about Blaise being found with more than 20 stab wounds, which seems like a bit of a very passionate killing in a way. So I'm wondering if there's more going on here than Sam is actually telling us at this point. County District Attorney hasn't ruled out the possibility that the killing was a hate crime. I think they're basically considering also adding some hate crime charge to this. There is some other secondary charge about use of a personal knife that they're considering adding this charge to this case as well. And as of when this article is written, it's looking like Sam is facing anywhere from 26 years to life in state prison. Detectives linked Woodward to the slaying through DNA evidence at Borrego Park and inside his car. I haven't seen a ton of information about this, but I did see a specific reference to Blaise's blood being found on an item in Sam's car, which was a sleeping bag, I believe. And once again, might point us to the direction of maybe there was some more intimacy going on here than he's actually letting on at this point. But it's hard to know for sure. So at least in terms of evidence, it seems like the evidence is pretty strong. They're acting very quickly on this, so I would assume that they feel like they already have plenty of information. And then at the bottom of this article, they're talking about the fact that Sam will be arraigned on February 2nd. So another court appearance, possibly some more details will shake out there. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a better idea. But it seems like, even though they're not saying that they officially know the motive, that we pretty much understand what the motive is about, even if we're not getting the full story there in this case. And it is truly terrible that anyone has to go through that. Moving on to our next case. This man here. This is a man named Bruce McArthur. And if you checked out my update last week on Andrew Kinsman, we believe this is the same Bruce McArthur that might have something to do with Andrew and Salim Essen's disappearance. This is an article over at Vice.com, which is worded very carefully, but I can tell you major media is running all over the place with all of these pictures. However, I think we got to note this. While police have not yet released a photo of McArthur, a Facebook page belonging to someone of that name contains photos of a man who looks to be in his 60s and is self-employed. The same man appears on gay dating website silverdaddies.com. His profile is consistent with details released by police, including his age and occupation as a self-employed landscaper. So the likelihood that this is the same Bruce McArthur is extremely high, but I think we just have to throw a little bit of possibility out there that maybe there's another Bruce McArthur that happens to fit the same profile. That being said, major media sources are throwing this guy's picture all over the place. Vice actually reached out to the police to confirm it. And the police will not confirm if this is the right guy or not. So that's why I just want to leave that question out there as well. Facebook photos also indicate that he has been a mall Santa Claus in the past, which, if this guy is a serial killer, knowing that he was a mall Santa Claus is extremely creepy and dark. I don't know. Another very interesting turn in a heartbreaking case. Several pictures of Bruce here. And McArthur is set to appear in court on Friday morning, so we might get some more details there. I know that this community is really shaken up by this. I know that they're upset because they were speaking about the fact that they thought there were serial killings going on here. There are 3 other names that this article mentions. One of those names is also connected to this Bruce through Facebook. So it's believed that he might also be another one of the victims in this case. It's a man that is obviously missing at this point. I don't know. I've got people that have been reaching out to me on this case. I just want to thank them for keeping me updated on this case. They are from this area. They know this community. They know the pain that this community is going through. And it's terrible. And what motivates Bruce to do any of this, if it is Bruce doing this, we don't know at this point. As these court proceedings happen, I think we'll get some more detail, but we still haven't heard the piece of information that I'm really waiting for the families of these men, and that is, have any remains been discovered? Still just no word on that whatsoever. So fingers crossed that something on that happens sooner rather than later, specifically for those families. And finally, I wanted to share a link with you on Facebook.com at the Jonathan Lee Hamilton missing page. If you scroll down the timeline a little bit, look for January 19th at 10:58 a.m. And there is essentially I think it's called a Facebook Live session. It's about a 25-minute video from his mother. And I kind of mentioned in the video that I made that she was going to do something like this. Thankfully, she didn't do anything terrible in terms of naming names in the different theories that she believes could be happening here. I don't want Angie to suffer anything else. She's suffering enough through this, and then to have some type of, legal charges or something because she said someone's name in a video like this could be horrible for her and her health and the health of her family. So I'm really thankful that she took her time. She wrote out the bullet points she wanted to talk about. She goes through them point by point here. It is a tough watch. She is a very hurt woman. The desperation is clear. She's looking for the truth. She's looking for more information. She covers pretty much all the same major theories. I'm just going to touch on them a bit here again. One of the theories that is kicked around in here a little bit is just really raising the question about why one particular police officer didn't note that Jonathan was acting strange when you had so many other people say that this guy was acting strange at that time. And if that officer would have just identified that, I mean, did he even do a sobriety check on Jonathan? We know Jonathan didn't have his driver's license. We know that his car was parked crooked in a handicapped parking spot in a shopping center. Wasn't there enough in any of that to just check on his health a little bit, maybe take him in for some type of evaluation? I don't know. It's hard because I think Angie's really holding on to that because of the missed opportunity there. We have several people that identify that they saw Jonathan at that time. You have Angie and his father racing out there to try to get there to pick him up. And by the time they get out there, it's a 3-hour drive. He's gone. It is the worst missed opportunity that you can imagine. Now, there is another angle here where you have a relative that they called out to that lives close to this area, a relative that it seems like Jonathan might have not gotten along with great. And Angie has been in regular communication with me. She's sending me a ton of more information. The information that I'm seeing is leading me to believe that there's something weird going on with that relative. You have his story changing drastically. You have him first saying that he did meet up with Jonathan. Then later he says, no, I never met up with Jonathan. We've got some items that were found that might point to them being together at the time. We have this family member acting extremely strange when Angie and her husband do eventually show up on the scene. It's weird because I'm watching this woman that it's like she's chasing down all these different leads. And if there's anything that I could do to help her, it would be to try to get her to focus and work through just one of these leads as hard as she can. And if I was going to pick one personally, it would be this family connection lead. There is something very strange there. Especially when you have a family member that doesn't seem like they're being upfront with you. And keep in mind, the main thing that I struggled with when I looked into this case was, what is the motive for hurting Jonathan? There has to be some type of motive there. Yes, something could have happened in the heat of the moment and maybe an accident of some kind, but I don't know if that's really the case here. In this video, you'll also see Angie kind of talking about the Good Samaritan angle. She also seems really committed to investigating that thoroughly or understanding it better, and thinks that he might be involved in some way. And then we've got a couple of just heartbreaking stories, and I won't go into the details on this, but people that have contacted her, offered to help in some way, and then kind of betrayed her pretty hard. It's really, really tough when I see things like this. And it makes me always question. You guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook. I kind of have touched on it on this channel a few times. I'll always feature an official missing page that is hosted there, but I won't use it as a source of research or information because I hear of terrible information coming out of Facebook, completely unreliable, rabbit holes like you can't imagine, people seeking attention, just looking for contact. I mean, what do you go on Facebook for? And then they get someone that is looking for help like this, and hey, that's an easy point of contact. And if I just keep asking her questions and offering her help, I can keep this conversation going forever. It breaks my heart to see that she might be wasting time in terms of some of those interactions. And in some cases, some of those interactions seem to actually harm her, which I'm really not happy about. So, but I'm pointing this video out to you guys because if you are interested in this case, I hope you'll come here, hear it from Angie herself, hear the desperation in her voice, hear some of the many questions that she is trying to reconcile, these tough situations that she's trying to understand. And please know that I am continuing to talk to her. I'm continuing to work with her. I'm trying to figure out what we can do to help her in some way further than we already have. This is just one of those cases that's really at me. This is as far as it's gone, people. I've even considered reaching out to Philip Klein, who I know is in Texas as well. He's not super close to this area. But I'm wondering who can help. Can anyone help in this case? Because something seems really wrong. And I kind of feel like we need boots on the ground in that area to potentially help there. Maybe some of you know someone. If any of you are living in Texas or you have someone that you know in Texas that does private investigation, legit, that would be willing to help in some way, please get them in contact with me. Let's talk about it. Maybe there's something we can work out where we can help them get that investigation going. I don't know. If you guys have any other ideas on this, I really wanted to kind of put it to you as well. Please let me know about those ideas in the comments below. Right now, it's tough because you have a police department that isn't really, this is kind of a suspended case from their point of view. So they're really not working it that hard. They have the case file. The case file is active in terms of the information is sitting there waiting. But until there's some development, until they run into Jonathan Hamilton somewhere, alive or not alive, I just don't see any next steps that are happening there. And in the meantime, you have a mother that is very hurt and reasonably concerned because she has a son that's suffering with type 1 diabetes, and she doesn't know if he's taking his medication, how he's getting his medication. I don't know. There's also one other angle I wanted to mention in this with you, where it seems like in the 2 days before he was seen in that parking lot, he might have been staying with a friend of his that says he was afraid that he was being followed by someone or that someone was after him. So once again, we have another lead with this kind of mysterious message and not a whole lot of further information. Very tough thing to chase down or to try to find more details on. But I don't know, maybe if we can find the right kind of help, we can start shining the light in these corners. So that's it, everyone. That's it for today's BrainScratch Searchlight update. Thank you so much for caring about these cases, spending this time with me, and in particular, if you can help in any of these cases, please act on it. In particular, if there's anything we can do for Angie to help her figure out what happened to Jonathan or where Jonathan is, that's kind of where my heart and mind are most centered right now. So please let me know your thoughts on that. Let's see if we can do something. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with a fresh BrainScratch Searchlight, new case, new questions, here on the Lord and Arts channel.